welcome back to Shelabobby Handmade. My name is Caitlin, known just about everywhere on the internet as Shelabobby, and this is my channel where we talk about knitting, crochet, all of that fun stuff. And today, I feel like I'm a little too high. Hold on. Let me fix it. Better. Okay. It's a technology struggle. My laptop is literally sitting on its side because the screen won't rotate and I couldn't tell if it was straight. So we're having the struggles today. Anyway, welcome. How are you guys doing today? Today is the 24th of May, 2025. And if you are watching this anywhere in the summer of 2025, we are currently having Charlie's Sock Hop, which is a summer sock make-along that I am hosting this year in lieu of summer sock camp. And we are just making socks. It's a very relaxed knit along, any socks, any craft, have fun. Whips are allowed, double dips are allowed, all of that fun stuff. So if you want more information, watch my episode 40, which I will link. I think it goes here, link here, so that you can check out the details for the make along. And then also I'll have information down below as well. Today's a little bit of a different video, and if I'm looking down, I have my phone so that I can read the information, the notes that I have made. Today's a little bit different. We're going to talk about 15 sock patterns, 10 of which I have knit and can recommend, and 5 that I want to knit this summer. So because we are having a sock make along, I felt like this video may be helpful to some if you are new to knitting socks or interested in branching out to some new patterns, textured patterns, lace patterns, colorwork socks, all of that fun stuff. So before we get started, this pattern is not included in the 15, but if you are completely new to socks and you've never made a pair of socks before, my all-time recommendation for first pair of socks is the Crazy Sock Lady's vanilla sock pattern. She has, which I will have linked below to her Ravelry page and to her YouTube, she has a vanilla sock pattern. That is how I learned how to knit socks. And it is many, I think there's 3 sizes in her pattern. It's free if you do the video, and then she has PDF patterns on Ravelry, and I think she still has them on her Etsy as well. But you're able to knit a vanilla pair of socks, and the YouTube video is very, very helpful to learn the techniques to make socks. So that is the vanilla pattern that I used for many, many years. And then many years, I haven't been knitting that long. I started knitting socks, I believe in January of 2021. I started knitting in 2020. So 2021 is when I started knitting socks, and I have not stopped. But my vanilla socks I learned from Kay, and then I adapted my own vanilla recipe from that and other socks that I've made since then. So if you are new to socks, that's where I recommend starting. All right, so these are not necessarily in much of an order. I did start with my favorite of all time patterns and kind of worked down from there. I did try to include mostly beginner friendly ones, but there are some adventurous ones in there as well that I've knit. If I have the sock, if I have a sock knit up in that pattern, I will show it to you. Most of my socks are gifts, so I don't have them, but you will see. There are a couple that I can show you. The first pattern is and I'm going to include pictures and stuff over here, so I'll scooch over. The first pattern is the Rhinebeck Roomies by the Crazy Sock Lady, or Kayla Litton. This is my all-time favorite pattern. I absolutely would recommend this to everyone. It is easy to remember, easy to knit, 4-row pattern repeat, and I can do it while multitasking. You don't have to read it a whole lot. You just kind of have to know, oh, I'm on this row, I'm on this row, and you can easily knit it without looking. There are some techniques in there that are a little bit different, to where you kind of just need to make sure you pick up the right stitch, but it is pretty good. Again, all-time favorite. It's good for variegated socks. It's good for semi-solid socks. It's good for everything. I pulled out a few pair that I have for myself. These are worn socks, so if they are dirty or scruffy looking, please forgive me. So this is the first textured socks that I ever made, and yes, so these are early socks. These are made with Malabrigo sock, not their ultimate sock, just their normal sock. And I've worn these quite a bit, so they're getting a little thin, and they're a little bit fuzzy. These are not the greatest example of the pattern because this is when I was knitting my stitches twisted. So if you look really closely on the knit stitches here, they're all twisted. So I twisted my knit stitches for a good, I'm going to say almost 2 years before I finally figured out that I was doing that. So a lot of my early socks, a lot of my early projects, all of my knit stitches are twisted. So the texture you'll see is kind of tighter, not as defined as my next ones will be. But the cool thing about this particular pattern is that it is technically a rib. So it's very stretchy. And so that helps if you are a beginner. It helps with some fit issues that you might see with your tension at the beginning of making socks. So it is a great pattern. So here's another one that I've knit, and you can see that texture opens up a lot more on these. Again, these are worn socks, so you'll have to forgive the worn quality. All of my socks are shorty socks. That's just what I prefer. And then I have made this pattern the most. Out of all the socks that you're going to see today, that is the pattern that I have made the most. So that's pattern number 1. Pattern number 2 is very similar, and I don't have this one. So here is the stock photo. It's not the stock photo, the sample photo. That's the right word. This is the Serene Socks by 3 by the Sea Designs. It is very similar to the Rhinebeck Roomies, except it's different, obviously. But it's still that unique texture. It's great for variegated and semi-solid yarns. Again, it's a ribbing texture, so it helps with that beginner fit issues that you may see. Fairly easy to remember as far as pattern repeat. I believe it's either a 3 or 4 row repeat. So I have made these a couple of times, but I don't have any of them with me. The next one is, again, one of my all-time favorites, and I do have one of these because I haven't sent them off yet. It is the Most Ardently Socks by Kelly Menzies, or Burro and Cades. This is a really good pattern if you want to dip your toes into lace. So if you're just getting started with lace, this one's really fun to get started. It's easy to remember, easy to read. I think it might be an 8 row. Don't remember, but it's very easy to remember and get started with lace. The charts are good to get started in learning lace pattern charts as well. There's written and charted instructions, so it's a great beginner pattern as well. I've knit that one several times as well. It's an open lacy texture, so it's nice for warmer climates as well. All right. Oh, I have this one as well. This is the last one other than a whip that I'm currently working on, but this is the Huggle Socks by Knitting Expat Designs. Again, these are worn socks, but this is a great pattern to get started with cables. This is how I kind of learned to do cables. It only has this one cable down the side, so the other side is a vanilla sock, and the second sock, which I didn't pull out, is reversed. So you have a right side and a wrong side for your sock. So here's some of the sample photos as well for that. But this one was just perfect for learning cables, learning the wording for cables. I did the cables without cable needles, but it is also something that you can learn that with as well. So that's my like cable texture. I really like how the cuff goes into the cable as well with the twisted knit stitches. Number 5 is not a beginner friendly pattern, but it is gorgeous. This is the Vial of Sand Socks by Kelly Menzies, also known as Roro and Cades. It is, I've only made this pattern once, but it is the most beautiful pair of socks that I have ever made. They are gorgeous. It is a pretty lengthy repeat. If I remember correctly, it's like 12, possibly even 20. Like, it is a long repeat. But the good thing is you only have to do it a couple of times to finish the sock, and it's gorgeous. It's just beautiful. Chef's kiss. Love these socks. These were for my sister, so I don't have them, but I made them in a yak base, so they were nice and drapey. It was gorgeous. I love these. I want to make them again, but it is a very complicated lace pattern as far as I'm concerned, and so you need to have kind of a focus. Can't really watch TV and just mindlessly knit. Like, you have to be paying attention to the chart and where you are in that chart. All right, number 6, the Burrows Tail Socks by Rachel Fletcher, also twin set in pearl. This one is also a good like lace beginner, doing those yarn overs and reading a lace pattern. This one would be good for that as well. It's only on the top of the sock, so you don't have to do it throughout the entirety of the sock. And if you're making shorter socks, you only have to do the repeat a couple of times. This one also has, if I remember correctly, this one also has a fold over cuff, which was the first time I had done that, with a picot edging, which is gorgeous. So cute. Time consuming, but cute. And so I really enjoyed this particular sock. I made this one for my sister. Number 7 is a interesting texture, but is made up completely of knits and purls. So you don't have to do any yarn overs, you don't have to do any special stitch technique, but it gives you a textured, gorgeous sock. This is the Honey It's Cold Out Socks by Anne Hunt, and I know that she has a designer name as well, and I cannot remember it. But it is really good for learning if you're not familiar with charts and how to read charts. This one's very easy to read, and because you know what you're expecting to see those hexagon shapes as it comes down, you are more likely to see mistakes in your knits and purls. And again, it's just knits and purls, so the purl bumps make up the texture, and so you can just easily read it and be able to see where you made a mistake and can go back and fix it without crazy lace, of course, because I don't know how to fix lace. If there's a mistake in lace, we just continue on. We just fudge the numbers and continue on. All right, the number 8 sock is actually my current whip. So this is the Daedalus sock by Kelly Menzies, also known as Roro and Cades, and she's currently doing a make along for this sock in her Ravelry group, but I think it's open to like Instagram and stuff too. This is a mosaic sock. So while it looks crazy intimidating color work, there's no color work at all. This is knit. You can actually see, actually no, because that's not a good example because I'm on the toe. So of course they're going to be all the same color. You are only knitting with one color at a time. So you are slip stitching in the areas, see if we can get it to focus. You are slip stitching in the areas that the color climbs up. So you're only knitting with the black yarn or the orange yarn at a time. She also has a very, very detailed video where she walks you through the gusset and completing the gusset of the foot. Very, very detailed. Potato chippy. You just want to keep doing the stripes over and over again. And yeah, so this is my current whip, and I'm on the toe of the first sock. So this will probably be my first sock of Charlie's Sock Hop. But that is number 8, I think. Let me get back to my notes. Yes, That is number 8. But yes, this pattern looks so intimidating that maybe you're like, I'm not going to try that one just yet. It'll impress you. And you can impress your friends by saying, I made this beautiful mosaic sock and took me forever. When it really didn't. It was just like knitting a vanilla sock with some slip stitches. So that is number 8. Number 9 was actually the second textured pattern. So the first one was the Reinbeck Roomies. My second textured pattern that I made the year that I started making socks was the Mermaid Avenue socks by Summer Lee. This one is a little bit complicated. I don't know if I would recommend it for beginners, but if you understand the construction of a sock, you know, the different parts of the sock and how those are constructed, I don't think you'd have too much trouble. But there is some techniques in there where you are basically doing short rows every couple of rounds, and you have to remember to do that because the texture on the front makes the sock longer than the vanilla on the bottom of the foot. So we have to do a couple of extra rows. So keep that in mind, but it is a really beautiful sock. I made these for my sister as a Christmas gift, and I did it in mermaid colors. It was the Villain collection from Long Dog Yarn that she had, and this was the Ursula colorway if I'm not mistaken. But I made those for my sister. They did come out a little bit bigger, but again, I was still learning socks and textured socks and things like that, so they were a little bit big for her, but I may have also made the wrong size. That was just me still learning to make socks, but I want to make these again. I don't have the Ursula colorway, but I have a Maleficent colorway, I think it is, from that same collection, and I want to make those as well. All right, number 10 of the socks that I have made, and these aren't all of the textured socks that I've ever made. These are just my top 10. This is number 10, which are the Titty Gaga socks by Nancy Wheeler. These are just fun. It's a simple yarn over. There are a different chart for the back and the front, so it just gives a little bit of stimulation, a little bit of interest while making them, and just a good beginner textured sock. So I included that one as number 10. So those are the patterns that I recommend. I've knitted them. I've given you my opinion on them, on how easy they are and why I like them. Hopefully you will pick some of those and make some socks this summer. Now I want to include 5 socks that I have not made that are on my list to make, and if I will make them this summer, we'll have to see. So the first ones, and these are in no particular order, it's just the way that they were in my favorites or in my library. The first ones are the I Walk the Line by, I'm going to say this wrong, I know it's Shuyi. You're going to see it right here. These are a cuff down chevron textured sock. It's 2 colors. As far as I know, it's not Colorwork, but it might be. I haven't really looked too much into it. And they were a Sock Madness pattern. I think it was around 1. It says Sock Madness 18, but I don't know if that's 2018 or if that means the 18th summer madness that existed. I felt like I saw these this year, so it may have been this year's Sock Madness. But anyway, these are free and I want to make them. I've already downloaded them and just made sure that they were cuff down or toe up, depending, because I have to be in the right mindset for toe up. But these are on my list. I haven't picked a color. I would really like to do maybe a rainbow. I have some rainbow yarns up there, but I don't think I have enough black in a similar, I know I have a 2-ply black. I have plenty of 2-ply black, but I don't think I'll have enough left over in my Daedalus socks to do those. We'll see. I might have to order some more from Granite State? Granite Mountain Fiber Co. That was correct. That's where the black yarn comes from. So I might have to order some more from that because I really like that yarn, and it would work well with that Rainbow Bright yarn. Yes, that might have to happen. But anyway, that is one of the patterns I want to knit this summer. The next ones are the Flourish Socks by Helen Stewart. I signed up for her Handmade Sock Society for this year. I don't know how that operates, and like I know that it comes out, I know you get, I think you get 6 patterns throughout the year, so I don't know how often they come out. But anyway, the first one is these Flourish Socks, and it's just a pretty lace texture, and I have 2 yarns wound up back there from Yarnaceous Fibers that one of them will be this pair of socks. So that's on my list. That's already purchased and in my library, so ready to go there. The next ones are the Truth Is Out There by Stone Knits. These are Alien Colorwork socks. Again, I need black yarn, so I'm probably going to have to order some Granite Mountain black onyx yarn to do these, because these are alien socks, and I have the perfect green saved up for it, so I'm probably going to buy some black yarn. It's probably going to happen. But yes, these are some Colorwork socks. I have some 9-inch circulars that I want to try knitting Colorwork. Most of the time that I've tried Colorwork, which has only been a few times, I've done it magic loop, and they never seem to fit me. I have a little bit of wider foot. I have a pretty big instep, so I've just had trouble knitting them for myself. So all of my Colorwork socks are with my sister. But the Truth Is Out There, I want to knit these for myself. They just look so cute. The next ones are fairly simple, and I think these would be a good beginner sock, but I cannot recommend it yet because I haven't knit them. These are the Mosswalker socks by Jessie Maed Designs. Seems to be a pretty simple ribbed eyelet texture, and again, I have yarn from the Yarnaceous Fibers to make those already wound up. They'll probably be the next sock that I cast on, most likely. But it seems to be pretty simple eyelet texture, very gorgeous, almost like a, they almost look like a almost an antique or retro. Those are the words that are coming out, and those are not the words that I mean. A vintage sock, like a vintage lacy sock pattern. It's just cute, and I want to make them. The last one on my list is another Colorwork sock. I must be into making some Colorwork 2-color socks. But anyway, these are the Vinter socks by Hanna of HERBGARDEN. I think that's how you say, that's how I would say that, HERBGARDEN. But anyway, HERBGARDEN knitwear. These are a Colorwork sock that I saw Emily make from Emily Knits, I think is what it is. But I saw her, she did test knits of them, and I kind of want to do a variegated rainbow color for the background, and then maybe black or white or undyed yarn for the contrast color. I think that would be really, really cute. So that is also on my list, but that's a lot of Colorwork socks to knit. Now that is 3 Colorwork socks, and there are 3 months. So maybe I'll do a Colorwork sock a month. We'll do it. That's the plan. All right. So those are the 15 patterns that I have knit or want to knit this summer. And let me know if you like any of these, and let me know if you have any that you would add to this list. If you have some really good beginner textured socks patterns, list them below. Maybe somebody will look down there and get some inspiration from your list. But anyway, I hope if you are watching this, you are joining me for the Charlie's Sock Hop, and I will see you guys, maybe you'll see me next week for a podcast, but you might see me for another video for organizing and going through my yarn and planning out some socks for this summer. So that's pretty exciting, but I'll see you guys next time. Bye.